Yeah, as you can see, we're going to talk about medical imaging. It's no longer just a tool for diagnosis. There's a huge development in it. It's a strategic driver to speed up, to improve, to personalize new treatments. There's a huge role for medical imaging in the future of biotechnology. And thanks to artificial intelligence or nanotechnologies and strength of academic research, we can see that the whole part of the drug development process is being transformed. So we're going to explore this. We have fantastic experts here. Yes, Sandy, maybe I ask you to sit over there. Sorry. You already took a seat. That's okay. So let me welcome you to our guest present here today for this specific panel. We have a pharmacologist and radiopharmacist and the head of the pharmacological imaging team at the Biomaps laboratory, CEA Joliot, Nicolas Tournier. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Mark. Hi, everyone.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Then we have the VP of Imaging Lab, ICRO MEDIAN Technologies, Sébastien JACQUES. Thank you so much for joining us here. We have a research engineer and co-porter of the MTBIOCARE project, CEA, Sandy Payan.
Hello, everyone.
Nice to meet you. Also, an assistant professor of the Université Paris Cité, Laboratoire de physique des deux infinies Irène Joliot-Curie, CNRS IN2P3, and the CTO of Beams, Laurent MÉNARD. Thank you so much for joining us for this panel. I hope I did right with the title. Yes, all right. As I said, medical imaging is not just a tool or a supportive tool anymore. It's becoming a key player in the development of treatment, something that we are going to discuss with your expertise here. Why do you think it is becoming so strategic today, Nicolas?
I think the tools we have today are used everyday imaging tools in the hospital. They have been initially thought to be diagnostic tools.
Right.
But rapidly, they become very useful to monitor the effect of one drug, one specific drug, and experimental drugs. So I think imaging and therapy is linked for ages now. But the shift, the major twist in the field, I think, is the development of molecular therapies. Now drugs are aimed to target one specific target in one specific tissues, hopefully, and imaging at the same time has followed this trend. But to be accurate, I would say that therapy has followed imaging because molecular imaging was here before and went quicker to humans. So I think that today maybe we have reached a kind of momentum where imaging and therapy enrich each other, they grow together. And I think now with imaging tools, we can monitor the distribution of drugs in the body, the availability of the molecular target, and the engagement of the target in animals and humans.
Yeah, incredible. And they move hand in hand, therapy and imaging. Are you impressed by what's happening in this field?
Yeah, of course, I'm impressed by the new targets that sometimes come from the pharma industry, the pharma research, and the new technologies coming on the upfront, and the mixed and this cross-fertilization between imaging and research in molecular biology is extremely exciting.
Yeah. Exciting to hear about all these new possibilities. Sandy, what is your perspective on the strategic role of medical imaging?
The real challenge here today is to bring more specificity to what we call through what we call molecular imaging. We have the chance to have genetic tools that help us today to identify targets that are linked to different pathology. And we also have the technology now to be able to create contrast agents that are specific to these targets. For many years, especially in oncology, imaging mostly reliant on direct signs, for example, increased blood flow in tumor cells. But now we are entering a new phase. We are trying to see tumor cells themselves. And as a researcher, we are trying to work on this, on this space, trying to make diagnostic tool even much more specific. And this can lead to an earlier detection, which is obviously crucial, for example, to detect metastasis cancer. Yeah. But there is another side of this. For example, if we can have an earlier imaging, we can also detect abnormalities in people that might never have shown any symptoms.
No.
So it's really important to have this discussion to make it go through this.
Yeah, and very exciting to hear possibilities that we never could have imagined. Are you excited by the speed which this is developing right now in healthcare?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's go really fast, and yeah, it's really beautiful how this technology could help today.
Yeah, and make such a big difference. Sebastian, are you just as excited to see what's happening in the field?
Yes, indeed. I mean, there is a lot of possibility, as you explained, in terms of imaging, for example. To give a practical example, imaging can provide you with much more information than a single biopsy, for example. Because, you know, a biopsy first is invasive, so that's already something that we can try to get rid of. But when you perform a biopsy, it's a very partial, because you are taking a small sample of it. Yeah. So that means that if you are biopsy a tumor, for example, you will only have a small sample of it. So that's not representative of the whole tumor. So that's where imaging can play a big role, because you can analyze the tumor in its whole, and even the other, I would say, that you can have. So in its all in the complexity of the tumor. So that gives you much more details and much more information that you can digest, basically. Yeah. And that's where we were already talking about AI a bit earlier in the discussion, but AI can extract information that the radiologist will not be able to see because it's not seen as the naked eye. So that's where such a tool can empower the use of images and make it truly effective.
Yeah, incredible to hear. Much more information, but also, luckily, also the tools to be able to analyze that information much better than the human eye can do. Laurent, are you just as excited with these developments, and what is your view on this?
Yeah, it's exciting. In fact, the goal today is to offer treatment that's more targeted, more personalized, and above all, more responsive. And in that context, imaging can play a significant role. In fact, imaging can not only help us to define the best therapy for each patient, but also to plan it accurately. Imaging can also be used to guide treatment in real time, for example, for surgery. That's what we are doing with the BIMS startup. But to my opinion, what is more important is that imaging can help to adjust treatment as we go, based on how the disease is actually responding. And today we can react really much faster than we could do a few years ago, when we often had to wait the end of the treatment to know if it works. Now with imaging, we can obtain information on the response of the disease at the molecular level, and this allows to improve monitoring and to reduce the times of the response. So, and if you combine imaging with artificial intelligence, you can access to impressive amounts of details about the disease, and so you can, for example, define specific features and unique patterns that help to know how the disease is responding to a treatment. So, to my opinion, this is where the richness and the power of the imaging lies.
Yeah. Big developments in a field that you're all part of. Must be quite exciting to be part of a development that is going to save a lot of lives, and that you're perhaps have some kind of impact and responsibility in. Sandy, you're developing contrast nanoparticles. They specifically target solid tumors. What difference does that make for early diagnosis?
Yes, what is fundamentally different is now that we can visualize tumor tissue much more clearly. And it makes it a difference between normal and pathological tissue, and in other terms, between benign or malign tissue. So in practical terms, it can avoid certain biopsy that will be useless at the end, and it's a real benefit for the patient in terms of physical and also emotional burden, but also in terms of diagnostic efficiency. So we can obtain a more reliable, a more precise, and above all, an early images, which is completely crucial for patient care. So we have the chance to work with bacteria that are able to naturally producing these nanoparticles within themselves. And we develop all the know-how to be able to genetically modify these bacteria to be able to attach specific elements around these nanoparticles, such as specific tumor markers or even drugs, for example. So it's really a good support to have innovative research in this field.
Yeah, incredible, and great to hear that it can be so personalized as well, right?
Exactly,
For
it's
any
really
type
versatile
Yeah.
tool that can be used for this personalized medicine.
Great. Laurent, you're also the CTO of Beams, a startup. We talked about, of course, and the theme for today is how do we combine science with business? So can you tell me a little bit about your motivation to move from research to entrepreneurship, and how was that for you?
Oh, it's been a long journey and perhaps quite difficult to summarize in a few sentences, but our research team has always been focused on turning research into real-world applications. And so we develop tools to supply different therapeutic protocols, and our goal for these tools is always to be widely used with patients and to really help them in a concrete way. So for the beginning of the project, we always our aim is always to go through the clinical evaluations, but this step is not really easy, and when you are in an academic setting, you need a lot of fundings, and often the best way to overcome this difficulty is to create a startup. That's what we have done with Beams.
Yeah.
And to create this startup, we had the support from the CNRS with the RISE program, which helped us to structure the project and to find the people, the good people, to support it. So because it's really a key point, finding motivated and, of course, people with a lot of expertise in order to carry the project. So I am a teacher and so a researcher. I have many other responsibilities. Though I could not lead the project on my own. So we need a dedicated team with complementary skills, and we found it thanks to the CNRS. So turning an initial idea into a concrete application, it could be really tricky, but today there is different kind of structure that could help researchers to make this transition easier.
What would you say is the biggest lesson you've learned from moving from academia to industry, to business?
You have to take time. You have to be patient. It's a new world when you come from the fundamental research on not from even my research is almost applied, but it's really a new world to talk with different companies, to talk with the investor.
Yeah.
So it's a new world to learn.
You learn as you go.
Yes, of course.
Exactly.
Every day.
And you found a good team of talents. Was it easy to find a good?
No, not easy. Not easy. I think it's a tricky point when you want to create a startup, to find the best team to do that. People that agree to enter in your entrepreneurial adventure. So it's not easy, but as I said before, there is some structure such as the program RISE from the CNRS, which can help you to build this team.
Yeah, it's good to have all those partnerships in place to be able to really benefit from.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Of course, today we talk about artificial intelligence, the impact it has on work, on science. Sébastien, how is it changing the way you work?
Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah?
So, first of all, I think it's important to separate the different ways of AI can be used. So, the first one is regarding optimization. So, the way the current image analysis is performed, the workflow. So, you can use AI to optimize, to improve. So, for example, you can use it to automatize some steps regarding the quality control of the images. To, I would say, fluidify the workflow. So that means that, for example, for quality control of images, there are some verification that can be done manually, that usually are done manually, that you can use AI to optimize them. So that leaves, I would say, the human to more focus on high added value than what AI can do. So that's first step is optimization. The second one, and we briefly mentioned it earlier, is regarding extraction of information that the human eye, even the experienced radiologist, cannot do. You know, in medical imaging, we are often dealing with gray level imaging. So that means a lot of information that our human eye cannot detect. So that's where AI that can be trained to identify some specific patterns, for example, some suite of pixel of value, that can be directly linked to biological mechanism, for example. So that's where the AI can play a big role by identifying and be trained to identify some signal that we cannot see. That's one of the main things, I would say. And especially in, I would say, in cancer, if you are able to detect or to predict, for example, how a patient will behave, he will be a responder or not responder to a trial, that makes a significant impact. Because in cancer, I mean, at the early stage, you are able to identify it, you are able to provide the best treatment to the patient.
Right.
That's the game changer.
Yeah, I see you nodding, Nicolas. What would you say is the biggest benefit for you to use AI in your work?
I wouldn't say I'm a specialist. I'm more on the chemistry side and the molecular biology side. But I see every day that AI is used at every step of the imaging process, from the beginning to the analyzing. And what surprises me the most is the possibility to combine data obtained from different imaging modalities, like PET imaging, scanner, ultrasound, and MRI. And you can combine these data and get a new readout of the imaging in the same patient. Everything's non-invasive, so you can have different modalities, and it's impossible to analyze with the human eye, I think, and we need help, so AI or specific algorithms, but it really enriches our imaging tools.
Yeah, besides quality, how much faster has your work become?
So, sorry?
Besides quality, how much faster has your work become because of AI?
Yeah, once again, I'm not the specialist in this field, but yeah, maybe someone have some more advice on the radiology side or interpretation side.
Yeah.
I'm not currently working with artificial intelligence, but I think it's really useful for the development of new tool. For example, we are developing contrast agent that, unlike those that are currently used, that will be appear in white on images, will be here appear in black because they are iron based, and this will change completely the radiologist habits and the reading habits. So if this artificial intelligence can help to interpret or analyze these images, such like Nicolas just said, this won't be a constraint for the practitioner. In contrary, it will be a perfectly integrated tool that will be integrated in their routine, and they will help to approve new practices and new technology and innovation, of course.
Yeah, when you saw what was possible for the first time, did you think maybe 2-3 years ago this was going to be possible today?
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope. I think so. This is important to work. So we are biologists, but I think that's why it is important to work with different person involved in different, for example, biologists, in artificial intelligence, clinicians. So that's why it is really important to develop all these projects with a rich ecosystem.
Yeah, you talk about the ecosystem because I want to tap into that. Or do you have a specific benefit from AI, Laurent, that you want to mention before I move?
In my research work, I mainly use AI for instrumentation at the image reconstruction stages. So because I work with particle detectors, the main application of AI for me is to use it to determine, to calculate the interaction position of the particle inside the detectors. And once this information, this physical information is available, I use AI for the image reconstruction by using complex neural networks, and that can help to reconstruct the image by integrating different physical parameters. And what is interesting to say is that AI can also be used for its own training phase. In fact, you can use AI to generate artificial data from true and real experimental image. And it's really important because one of the key challenges for AI and for neural networks is precisely to have access to enough realistic data.
Yeah.
And so this point is really interesting. So you can finally feed, you can train the AI with AI.
Exactly, yeah. And it becomes a vicious cycle, so to speak. Sandy, you already talked about the strength of a good ecosystem. Laurent, what does the Paris Saclay ecosystem mean to you?
Oh, on the plateau Saclay, you can find finally possibly all partner you need, whether in terms of fundamental research, industry, and technology. And today we can also see the emergence of structures such as PASREL that help to create bridges with the medical world or to help us to facilitate the transfers between the fundamental research part and the medical world. So the ecosystem is impressive in the Paris Saclay. So finally, if I had to find some difficulty, it will not be at the local stage, but rather at the national step. At the beginning, it's very easy to get funding if you want to start a project. But what is more complicated is when you want to go further and to reach a level of maturity that is enough to be considered for clinical evaluation of commercialization. So to my opinion, this is the key point. It is the most difficult point where you want to find funding. So just to come back to the Paris Saclay environment, so I think it provides really complete and broad spectrum of partnerships, and so it's really useful if you want to develop a new project.
Yeah, you feel you're part of a big support system, but to have investing for a maturity phase on a local or national level, that is quite a challenge for you. Nicolas, what does the ecosystem mean to you specifically?
I think in our lab we are specialists of one specific imaging techniques, which is positron emission tomography. And I will give you maybe one concrete example. Because we can radiolabel one drug candidate, one drug, and follow it in the body, in animals and humans, and to see it bind to the target. And in the Paris Saclay area, we have a huge research in developing new ligands. There's chemistry, there's biological chemistry, medicinal chemistry. People are using tools to screen new compounds, natural compounds, synthetic compounds, biologicals, and all these compounds can be radiolabeled. And I think that as part of the PASREL-Imaging Imagerie consortium, we can accompany these labs and these small companies, startups, radiolabel their drug candidates, and see the target in animals and humans, monitor the target, see the effect of the drugs, and I think the added value of this technique is that we can use microdose. It's very sensitive, so we can jump the translational wall obstacles, tackle this obstacle, and go to humans very quickly. And if the drug doesn't work as a drug for one reason, it can be repurposed as a molecular imaging tool and help the development of other drugs sharing the same targets.
Yeah, and this
post-fertilization.
Yeah, it's a fantastic example of how collaboration really benefits the research that you do. Do you have perhaps a concrete example, Sandy or Jacques, where the ecosystem has really made a breakthrough or a good development possible for you? Sandy?
Yeah, I can start. For example, exactly what we are doing now, it's an example with our research project, and it demonstrates that we need the collaboration with a highly connected ecosystem with chemists, physicians for MRI imaging, for example, we are working in microbiology, and this shows that it is really important to have all these people that are connected to innovate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, beautiful how collaborations really helped you in that sense. Jacques, do you have a particular example?
Yeah, so we have a strong collaboration with PASREL-Imagerie, especially in the radiopharmaceutical field, which is a field that is increasingly used in clinical trials, so you will see more and more. So such a collaboration allow, I would say, us to provide invaluable expertise to our clients. We are an imaging CRO, we are a global company, but having this partnership with PASREL allow us to work on a specific radiopharmaceutical, which is not so widespread currently. So when you want to try a new, when you want to launch a new clinical trial, you have this new tracer, new marker, new agent, and you need to have, I would say, the good readers also to be able to interpret these images, and that's where such a collaboration make it happen, basically. So that's where there is a strong power of a company like us to work with entities from the Paris Saclay plateau.
Yeah, great. And you all mentioned this interdisciplinary work that's really benefited you. I call you Jacques, by the way, Mr. Jacques, but you're Sébastien, of course.
I'm used to, no worries.
Yeah, all right. So, Sébastien, if we just move forward, I want to look ahead with you because you've seen really great developments happen in the past few years. But if you look 5 to 10 years from now, where is medical imaging going to be? How is it going to look like?
It's getting bigger and bigger, to be honest, because as we were mentioning, there is much more usage than what we are currently doing in imaging that is currently done right now. So usage of AI, but all this new technique, radiopharmaceutical, you were mentioning PET, because it involves a new tracer, new needs. So if you are, we are talking about precision medicine now. So you have what we call radiotheragnostics. So that means that the molecule that you are using not only for seeing if it goes where it's supposed to do, is also the treatment.
Yeah.
So that's where new techniques, new advanced imaging is getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah, it's becoming intertwined much
yes.
more. Laurent?
No, I agree. I think that in the next few years, imaging will help us to provide treatment that, as I said at the beginning, that are more targeted, more personalized, and more responsive. That's, I think that it's probably the main impact of imaging in the next 10 years.
Sandy.
Also the same,
agree?
yes,
Yeah.
of course, because we will have the much more characterization of the tumors, and also to be able to have products that are much more specific to the patient for diagnostic, but even for follow-up of treatment. And I hope that in 5-10 years we can have specific products that can be developed for this patient.
Yeah, truly personalized medicine in that
exactly.
sense. Now, today we have entrepreneurs, we have investors, we have scientists, healthcare professionals. What message, if you had one message to share with them today from this stage, what would you give them, Sandy?
Yeah, so I come from fundamental research, so we are the proof that after 15 years of research, innovation can be brought to light that could be profitable. So we demonstrate that how essential this fundamental research is. So today I am a young researcher. We try to take this step aside to add value to this work, to go beyond pure research. So it's very rich experience, both in terms of entrepreneurial adventure, but also in the way we are thinking our project, in the way that they are much more profitable to society. So there is a real back and forth between fundamental research and innovation, as, for example, of course, fundamental research will feed the innovation and industrialization, but this valorization will also feed back feed in return the fundamental research by encouraging us to ask the good question that could bring to really innovative project research. So really, I am convinced that this collaboration with all the players, all the specialists that we have is really important to bring this innovative breakthrough.
Great, strong, beautiful message. Thank you so much, Sandy. Laurent, maybe a final message also to those in the audience, because you're on the crossroads of entrepreneur and being a researcher as well.
I agree with Sandy. If I have a message to share, if you you don't have to oppose the two worlds, fundamental research and and valorization and industry. Finally, what we develop with, for example, with bins, initially stem from the fundamental part of the research. So some technology that are currently used at CERN, for example. So supports fundamental research. Even fundamental research is really important because in the long term, it's naturally feed into everything is more applied, and particularly in the biomedical field. So,
great.
That's my message.
Yeah, well, a nice send-off. Thank you so much for joining us for this panel. Can I get one more round of applause for Nicolas, Sébastien, Laurent, and Sandy? Thank you so much.
Thank you.